This video has been so hard for me to record, and I know why it's been hard, because the very essence and medicine that we're going to speak to throughout this video of what horse, or even more specifically what wild horse, can help us move through is so very tied to why I've been struggling to make this video, and that is these self-limiting beliefs and fears and anxieties that prevent us from living our freest and our truest self-expression. So I know why it's been hard for me to sit down and actually formulate the many threads that have come through when working with this energy. But another reason as well, and I do say this often in a lot of my videos, but really in particular I really did feel it with the wild horse, and that is that sometimes the human language is so limited in its ability to express things that is more felt energetically, or that can be experienced in symbology, which is why I love working with things like archetypes and the language of archetypes and the subconscious and the dream realms, because sometimes words don't do things justice. And so before we even begin this video, I want to share with you guys a song that came about when I was working with the wild horse. And I heard this song and I really just got swept away in how it feels to experience horse and to work with her. And in the Celtic tradition, the name of horse is actually Iach. That is the Celtic tongue, the Scots Gaelic of what we call horse spirit. So you can also address her in the tongue Iach, or in a word that you have in your own language for her. But there's something so primal and ancient and beautiful about the energy that really just washes you over with this sense of euphoria when you connect in with her. And so I recommend listening to this song, and it's called Unwoven by Kevin Wren, or Kevin something like that. Put it in a little thing down here so you'll be able to go and find it on Spotify or maybe another platform. But I really recommend just going in to the song with the intention of connecting with the horse spirit, and just see what comes up for you, see what images you get, see what feelings arise and what you experience when you listen to the song. So that is your homework before we even begin the video. Also, at the end of the video, I am going to read to you guys a card from the Heart of Fairy Oracle that I pulled, which will be Iach Speaks, or the Spirit Speaks, the voice of the spirit. So that will be a closing message that I will give at the end of the video. So that's a new thing that I'm going to start incorporating with these. So there's another element of communication in there as well. Didn't know already, the reason why we're speaking about horse medicine today is in the last Hedgerow School episode 2, horse spirit was the animal totem that we were working with for that period of time. If you've not seen the Hedgerow School series so far, basically I set out what I'm going to do for that month in terms of my practice, the spirits that I'm going to work with, and the energies that I'm going to be really focusing on to connect in with. And then once I've had a period of time traveling and journeying with them, I will then come on here and make videos and relay to you my experiences, the information or the insights that they may have shared with me. When you are wanting to work with these energies yourself, you can have some sort of a jumping off basis or some sort of a structure that might be helpful to you in your practice. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and I hope you enjoy this episode. So as I said, I've had so much fear and anxiety that has arisen in me sitting down to do this video. And I've been recording videos for about 4 years now, not consistently, but consistently recently. And every time I do sit down to do a video, I do get really nervous. And even though I'm here on my own and I'm just talking to you guys through the camera, there is something in me that always doubts myself, always has a fear that the vulnerability that I share in these videos will not be understood or not be well received. And I am so grateful for the amazing community that is growing here on the channel recently, because I have connected with so many beautiful souls recently who just get it. You guys just get it. You understand it. You understand the language. You understand what I'm talking about. And it is such a beautiful feeling to connect with you all across space and time through the amazing tool that is the internet, to connect with like-minded people and share that expression and share that understanding. But still, time and time again, I still get nervous, and I know that it is because deep down I have wounding surrounding not being good enough, not producing good enough results, not being detailed enough, not achieving high enough. And I know this goes back to me being in school and the pressure that I would put on myself to be able to achieve. And they're all these themes, right, that we can box under the umbrella of self-limiting beliefs, right? Am I good enough? Am I strong enough? Am I intelligent enough? Am I expressive enough? Am I creative enough? Like, there's just all of these self-limiting beliefs, these dialogues that we have within our own minds where we talk ourselves down, we talk ourselves out of things. This is all the expression of the devil card in the tarot, right? And this is where the horse medicine is so powerful and transformative, because the horse medicine is the very essence of the untamable spirit, the breaker of chains. That is the first medicine key that the wild horse in particular can offer us. And that is all of these chains, these bridles that we have accumulated throughout our life. When we first come into the world as a child, we are just the raw expression of ourselves, right? We have still retained our wonder, our freedom. There's none of those societal expectations or those societal norms that have become embedded in our psyche through our relationships, through culture. We are literally just the pure expression of ourselves. And then as we grow, obviously we collect all of these chains as we go, right? All of these expectations, these pressures, these conforming aspects that we have to live through. And part of this work, part of why we do this work, is because we are trying to unpick parts of ourselves that don't belong to us. They're things that have accumulated within us through these interactions and through the experience of life. And as we become aware of them through this work, we are able to unpick them from ourselves and to break free of those chains. And there's something about the energy of working with horse that is just so euphoric and uplifting and expansive. It really is hard to put into words, because when you connect in with her, it is this feminine principle of just pure love and pure expression in the most beautiful way that is hard to put into words. When we see an image of a wild horse running across the landscape, there is something so beautiful that you just don't want to capture it, right? You just want to allow it to be free to express itself and to just simply exist. There's something that would be so heartbreaking to tame about that spirit, right? That just pure raw essence of freedom and self-expression. And that's how we feel when we love someone, right? When we love someone, we look at them and we just accept them for all that they are, and we just want the best for them, and we want them to just be their fullest expression and to realize their fullest potential. And when you connect in with the horse, there is something about that unconditional love that is also present in the spirit as well. And when we look at a horse, the way that they run, obviously the actual physicality of a horse, the chest cavity is so large, and when you connect in with the horse, you very much connect in with this idea of being led by the heart, running free across the landscape, whether that be the landscape of your own life or the landscape of your own mind and your own personality and the way that you explore all those different aspects of yourself. There's something about that charging energy, right? Charging heart first and being heart led, and the full expression of the heart space when you work with the horse spirit. If you are someone that feels like you have just accumulated so much baggage that prevents you from being your truest, fullest expression and that prevent you from self-actualization, right? Self-realization, this ability to step forward into your personal power and break free of the chains of fears and anxieties from the expectations of how other people may perceive you and not being accepted. The wild horse comes in to assist you with that, to assist you in breaking free of those chains that prevent you from living a life that is heart-led, that is unafraid to express oneself fiercely and to run free across the landscape, wild and untamed. The horse is the perfect spirit to work through those blockages and those difficulties and those challenges that you may have. So if you are feeling restricted and weighted and like the weight of the saddle and the bridles in your life are becoming too much, and that you know that deep down within you there's another person within there that you're just waiting to express and to show the world fully, then the horse medicine is perfect to work through this. This perfectly leads us on to the next medicine key of the horse, and that is inner sovereignty. To have inner sovereignty, or sovereignty, however you want to say that, within oneself is to feel like you stand in your personal power, right? So when we move through those fears, those anxieties of expressing ourselves fully, we stand in our personal power and we reclaim ourselves as something that is regal, something that has high value, that is precious, and that has high self-worth. And to be the sovereign of one's life, right, is to have rulership and ownership and to be in control of one's destiny, one's choices, and one's direction in life. So to speak to this, we can tie in this imagery of the tamed wild horse. When we look back in history and we are taken to images of war and horses charging into battle against their own will, but at the hands of man, and the greed and the darkness that comes forward in humanity throughout history sometimes, we connect in with that image of the untamable free expression being forced into a life that it did not choose, having its inner sovereignty taken from it, and having its ability to live life how it wants removed from it. It has no choice in the matter, right? It's forced into that life, forced into that path. And so if you feel like your personal power has been removed from you by other people, or maybe you find yourself in situations where you feel like you are unable to have control of your own life, your own schedule, and it is weighing heavily on you and you feel restricted and bound, then the horse can be an excellent medicine to connect in, to remind yourself that no one is in control of your life other than you. No one is in control of your decision makings other than you. No one can decide the path. And if sometimes you feel like, well, I'm on this path because this happened, this happened, this happened, there is still always an element of choice, right? Even in the most difficult situations, even when we feel like there is a million pressures and a million different people relying on us to make the right decisions, you still have the capacity to make the decisions and the choices that feel good to you, that feel good to your heart. There's always another solution. There's always another way of looking at a situation. And sometimes it can feel so overwhelming and so difficult, and we get so clogged down with everybody else's pressures and everybody else's opinions and all the responsibilities that we carry throughout our life. But if we really quiet ourselves and we go back into that heart space, back into that raw essence that horse medicine can help us connect in with, then we are able to quiet the noise and to listen to ourselves and our own guiding compass, and then we are able to find direction, call in that inner sovereignty more powerfully, so that when we do have to make decisions that can be difficult or challenging, we can lean into that aspect of ourselves and know that we do have the power to design our lives and to manifest and to dream up the life that we want to live. It's just hard to sometimes see the way forward and see the journey forward because of all of the pressures of the outside world. And obviously the horse and the history of the horse and man, and this ability to move across vast distances in the landscape, is also another incredible medicine that the horse can offer for those long, arduous journeys that just seem difficult and stressful and a quest, right? A quest that we have to go through, the challenges, the hero's journey, the story arc that we have to go on to navigate throughout our lives. The horse is the perfect companion to complete any quest. So tune into the energy of horse if that is something that you feel you are lacking or needing to call more of into your life. This ability to design and create the life that you want to live, not what others enforce upon you. Now, to go back to this idea of the horse being that untamable aspect of our nature, that more wild, expressive, free nature that we want to bring more of into our life, and then this idea of the valiant quest, right? The search for the Holy Grail, the key, the answer to our happiness, to our joy, to satisfaction in life, to true freedom, all of these things, these quests that we go on, the many journeys throughout our life. To go back into that, there is very much a need to give direction to what it is that we are trying to manifest. So the energy of horse is something that is so big and unbridled and untamable that the only thing that we can really do to actually actively work with it is to not contain it, to not force it in the direction that we believe it should go, but instead to hold a vision more loosely and a feeling of where it is that we want to go, right? Because we're going back into that idea that the horse is led by the heart, right? It's not necessarily the vision or the sight and designing where it is that we want to be and where we see ourselves so concretely, because that, if anything, actually does the opposite for manifestation. Because if you're trying to manifest the life that you want and you imagine every single little detail, it's not going to come about in the way that you think it is. The best thing that we can do is to hold the feeling of what it feels like. I want a life where I feel free and I have freedom in my schedule. What does that feel like? I want to live a life where I don't have to worry about finances or money and that I'm always provided for. What does that feel like? Every time that we work with horse, we have to go into this space of freedom, because the horse spirit is not trying to make sense of the world. She is simply just existing. She is simply just moving through life with the feeling, being heart-led. So we have to give direction to the energy when we work with it, but we don't want to tame it, because that is the very opposite of what we want to do with horse. The spirit of the wild horse is very much in tune with the kruta, or the sacred drumbeat of the earth. This is that song that we hear across the landscape when we are out walking along the moorlands or in the sound of the ocean. It's that heartbeat of nature, the very expression of nature that we feel, that we cannot put into words, but we feel it when we're on top of a mountain looking out at a scenery that just takes our breath away. It is something that is so ungraspable, something that, as I said, it has to be felt. That is the best way to work with horse medicine, is to feel what it feels like to run with her. So going back to the start of the video when I recommended that song, and even if you don't feel it in that song, then maybe find songs that do give you that feeling of euphoria and freedom, and allow this experience of weight being lifted off you, that saddle that has been placed upon you, trying to steer you in the direction that someone else wants you to go, or work wants you to go, or society, the government wants you to go. Take off that saddle, or the expectations that your friends and family put upon you, right? We can put this in any area in our life. Remove the saddle, remove the bridle, and just tune into you and what you desire, and then run with it. Gosh, honestly, I could really make so many videos on the horse, because that really isn't even half of the things that came through when I was working with her. But it's such an overwhelming energy, and it's such a large energy to try and formulate into a video that is more condensed. So I do feel like it is something that I will probably do more videos on in the future. So when the time feels right, I'm sure I'll speak to more aspects of how we can work with horse medicine. But hopefully that's a nice little insight and a jumping off point for you to explore in your own practice, if this is a spirit that you want to call more medicine in for in your life. I know that my own journey over these last few months, I have broken through so many of my own personal chains. There's been so many situations where I have felt afraid to take a step or afraid to put myself out there. And if I had listened to that voice of fear, that chain of self-limiting belief, or fear of rejection, or fear of not being good enough, or just fear of showing myself fully to the world, I know that my life would be nowhere near as beautiful as it is right now. And I feel like I am in a place where I have so much good in my life and so much love, and I just feel so truly blessed for what I have been experiencing the last 6 months in particular. And I know it is because every time that that devil has come up within me, that little voice in the back of my head that has tried to stop me from running wild and not caring about other people's opinions or how other people want me to live my life, when I drop all of that baggage and I just listen into my heart and lean into that sense of I want to feel free, and I want to feel free to express myself, I want to feel free to live fully and live the life that I want to design, just see so much beauty return to me, and so much joy, and so many amazing connections, and such a sense of fulfillment return to me, because I am living a full expression of myself and I'm following my heart. And we can say that, you know, mind over matter, mind over the heart. Some people feel like you shouldn't wear your heart on your sleeve in life, but honestly, what I have found from my experience is that every time I have led by my heart and I have ran with the wild horse in me, I get one step closer to living the life that I want to live. And that is the truest sense of fulfillment that you can ever have. So as promised, we are going to do a closing message from Iak with the Heart of Fairy Oracle, and the voice of the spirit that came up was number 62, the Hope. So I'm going to read the description in the book for you, and hopefully there's a message in there. And thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I'm so appreciative to each and every single one of you and this beautiful community that we are creating. And I hope you've enjoyed some of the insights that I've provided here today for your own practice. So, the Hope, light in the dark, faith and comfort. This is the Faery of dark despair. She is there in your darkest hour. We know people who have had her tattooed on their backs. And my question when I first saw that was, why would you want dark despair on your back? But as I thought about it, I realised that she is there as a comfort. She feels despair and lives it with you. She helps you through it because the only thing to do is to go through it and to come out the other side free of that emotion. The little fairy hovering above her is hope. In all despair there is hope. It may be small and may seem insignificant, but it is there. Hope is the bright spark, the tiny bit of magic that can turn the tide of despair. Wherever you find the Faery of dark despair, you will also find hope. In the wings of the Faery herself, in her garland of golden flowers, as the sun reaches the darkest shadows, hope crowns despair. If you find this card in a reading, remember that there is hope in any situation. It may not come in the form you are expecting or would wish for, but look for it, and you will find it nonetheless. Have faith that something good can come. By allowing that thought in, the darkness of despair can begin to give way to the light of hope. So thank you for tuning in, wildlings. I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget that there's my Etsy shop if you want a reading from me or any of my spirit poppet offerings. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and comment down below if you have any experiences of working with the horse, or if you have any ideas of what you want to see here on the channel as well. I'd love some of your feedback. So I'm sending you so much love and so much light and many blessings on this day, and I shall see you in my next video.